Hey guys, it's me Jack here. I hope you're having a great day. Today we are going to be doing a replay from Apollo M4A1 in the Tier 10 Swedish tank destroyer, the STRV 103B. Now this follows on from the video I did yesterday where we were looking at the brand new Tier 8 premium Swedish tank destroyer, the STRV S1. And this can be seen as the big brother to that tank, and indeed the pinnacle of the Swedish tank destroyer line. This tank, of course, has the siege mode, which, when pressing X, as you can see on the screen, will allow the tank to change between the travel mode that it's currently in, and as you can see here, he's doing it. It will take 2 seconds to change into the mode where the gun becomes far more accurate, and traversing the tank is done by moving the mouse. So you can see he's already put in his first shot there into the Batchat 25T AP. And this tank, when fully equipped with gun rammer, brothers in arms, and if you want you can put events on as well, has a total DPM of over 4,000, which is absolutely insane. The tank itself, with binoculars and camouflage net, as you can see here, he has installed, clearly means he either has vents or a rammer, and with that you get around 3,900 DPM. With the binoculars activated, you can see that even though he's traversing the tank, as he's in siege mode, the effects of the binoculars and camo net do not change. However, when he drives, or indeed changes into travel mode, and then drives, the effect stops. With the binoculars activated, he has a view range of 457 meters. That's including brothers in arms, which is a crew skill. And the power to weight of this tank is 17.96, which is very decent, as you can see he's getting around the map very well. Of course, it does also have a 45 kilometers per hour reverse speed, which is pretty quick. You know, it allows you to get out of every situation that you could probably be in. However, you don't want to be driving around when you are in siege mode, as you have a 10 kilometers per hour speed forwards and backwards, which is very slow. In terms of armor, the tank has 40 millimeters at the front, 30 at the sides, and 30 at the rear. Of course, it is extremely well sloped. And because it's 40 millimeters, the overmatch mechanics work that any tank with 121 millimeter guns, let's think about that, basically every Russian heavy after tier 6, and basically every tank you're going to face, will overmatch the front of this tank, meaning that the armor is pretty useless unless you're facing things such as that T34 mod 1, T54 mod 1, excuse me. And that will allow you to ricochet shots like that due to the auto bounce mechanic. So if we talk about what Apollo's done so far, we can see that there aren't many tanks on this flank, and he and his platoon mate in the Batchat 25T are basically locking down this flank and allowing him to get some shots across into the enemy tanks here. However, you can see that he does have some difficulty aiming up at those tanks, and that's because of the way the STRV 103B uses its siege mode. The tank itself has a fully locked gun, and it will only point forwards. To change the location of the gun, you have to travel in the location, or whichever way the gun is pointing. That location of the gun sounds a bit like you can remove the gun. But to change which way the gun's pointing, you switch into siege mode, and that allows the fully articulating hydraulic suspension to change how you are aiming. So the gun itself does not move, the tank moves around the gun in effect. And you can see here, if I go into free camera mode, how that effect works when the tank is being raised up by the suspension at the front. We can see he's already done 1,768 damage, taking out the Batchat 25T there. And the thing about this gun is that it is incredibly accurate and incredibly fast aiming when you are in the siege mode. You can see that he is able to, you know, to all intents and purposes, snipe at these tanks across the map here. His team have taken up some interesting positioning. Generally, you would find that there are more enemies on this flank. There don't seem to be any there, and that allows him to put some shots into tanks such as these IS-3s, T54 mod 1, and you can see the laser-like cannon from the tank here just annihilating everything in front of him. He's already up to 3,000 damage, and that's because this tank has one of the highest DPMs in the game when it is firing constantly. Puts a shot into the IS-3 there, tracking him. The penetration of this gun with its standard rounds are 308 millimeters, and with its premium rounds, if we have a look here, You can see it has... Oh, that doesn't seem to have worked right at all. There you go, 350 millimeters of penetration with its premium, shall we say, APCR rounds, because of course it does fire APCR as standard. And what that means is that the shell velocity with the standard rounds is 1,500 meters per second, which means that it is so much easier to hit tanks when they are on the move and at range. You can see there's a Tiger II spotted here, and he has just been cleaning up those tanks in the center of the map there. It's important to note that this tank is very sneaky, and you can see he hasn't been spotted yet. He's able to just continue to put out the punishment on the enemy tanks. There goes the Tiger II. And so far, he's up to 5,022 damage. Now, tanks like the IS-3 aren't renowned for having the best view range in the world, but he is not far away at all, and he's unable to spot our hero Apollo M4A1, even though the double bush effect isn't being used. He tracks the AMX-30 there, perhaps getting some assistance damage. We can see that so far the scores aren't looking in his favour, given that it's 5-4. It was 5-3 a second ago. It's now 5-4. The IS-3 is continuing to sort of poke that ridgeline, but he doesn't have the gun depression, and the incredibly high penetration on this tank allows Apollo to just go straight through the front of his turret in all effects. We can see that his ally in his platoon is back at the base in his grill, and again, a shot straight through the front of the defender there. Now, he was hit by the IS-3, and they are taking shots at him, and we can see he must not have Sixth Sense in this tank because he's being shot at, and he didn't know he was spotted. So he's looking about for an attempted shot. There you go, his grill ally hits the IS-3, and a laser-like shot there finishes him off. He's already fired practically all of his standard APCR rounds. He's down to 2 of those, and then he's got 21 of his premium APCR rounds. Presumably, he does have Sixth Sense, actually, as he says to his chat, in his platoon chat, that the IS-3 blind hit him, which must go to show that, the IS-3 is a good player, and he knows where he's being shot from, so he was blind hit by him. But you can see the IS-3 and the AMX-30 makes a fatal mistake there, showing too much of his tank to the... Oh, there you go, he's been spotted, and he does in fact have Sixth Sense. He also takes out the IS-3, and he bounces a shot from a Grill 15 and a Scorpion G and a T-54 Mod 1, which is incredibly surprising, given that those tanks should all overmatch the front of this tank. Clearly what has happened is they hit the tracks and the spaced armor over the side of the vehicle, which meant that they were unable to do any damage, and now the grill's been spotted, and this is where the DPM of this tank becomes apparent. He's up to 8,008 damage already. What's important to note is that he bounced the APCR shot from the T-54 Mod 1, which should have around 230 millimeters of penetration, I think it is. He was, of course, unable to ricochet the defender, which butted through his tank. Butted through his tank? Is that a phrase? Well, we'll say it's a phrase. His first missed shot of the game, I think, there against the defender, just a bit unlucky. He's being circled by a T-54, and he critical hits the side of that arguably overpowered Tier 8 heavy tank. There you go, tracks him. Hopefully the T-54 will be able to finish him off. If not, there you go, he's gone. So you can see the scores are 11-6, and practically he has carried the team in terms of damage, having done 9,199. You can see his allies in his platoon have also been putting in some good shots, but Apollo here is up to 6 kills, so he is definitely the hero of the platoon, although Purple in the bat chat has just done some damage of his own. Bit of a replay bug there, not sure what went on. But you can see that this tank is absolutely gorgeous as well, and what's important to note is that this shield at the front prevents high explosive anti-tank ammunition from damaging the tank because it detonates against the shield at the front, which means that it won't penetrate through and damage the tank itself. And you can see it's just clean-up time now. The enemy tanks have basically no chance at this point. The bat chat on his team, in his platoon, helping out against the WZ 11114, and we can see that the DPM, the reload of this tank is insane, and it just allows him to butcher that poor Tier 9 heavy tank. 9 kills between the platoon now. Can they make it 10 against the Type 5 heavy? The recently buffed Tier 10 Japanese heavy tank. Now that thing has a pretty nasty gun, And if he's firing the high explosive, that's where the defense at the front of the tank would come in helpful, because the HE would detonate against that rather than the hull of the tank. And even though he's had his armor buffed recently, the high penetration rapid firing gun from this tank will have no trouble just going straight through the front of his tank, especially considering he's now down to his premium APCR rounds with 350mm of penetration. And there's no chance that these rounds will bounce even if he shot him in the front plate, which you can see he's doing there, and he picks up the 8th kill and the 10th kill of the platoon. So let's have a look at some end plates.